It seems like it's been an absolute age since I did a classic Adidas sneaker, and the Forum Low is definitely in that line. And to be honest, a lot of the classic Adidas sneakers we've been doing these days have been Star Wars sneakers, and I particularly remember the Boba Fett's. They were a really cool looking sneaker, but I think the latest one was the C3POs, if I remember rightly. But like I said, it's been actually probably a few months, maybe more than a few weeks, a few months since we did a classic Adidas sneaker. And right here we've got the Marimekkos coming from Finland, a tie-up with a Finnish company. And I, to be honest, had to do a lot of research to get this one right, which means I'll probably get this one wrong. But I, as I say every day, do these sneaker videos, and they're always research, find out about the sneaker, find out about the collaboration in the case of today's shoe, and try and bring you the details on it and let you know what's coming around the corner for this one, which comes up on June the 18th. So without further ado, let's get into this upcoming release of the Adidas Forum Low Marimekko. This is the Tokyo Bada 23 sneaker channel. Tokyo Bada 23 sneaker channel です。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And in the tie-up today, it's a Finnish brand, a fashion designer brand, and the Adidas Forum Lows Marimekko. And you know, like I said, research. This isn't just me happening to know this kind of stuff. I had to dig into it, find out about them. Turns out that Marimekko is a company that was formed and started in the 50s, so we're talking 70 odd years ago, and the major theme of it was about female empowerment, and that's very topical right now when you think of the woke world out there, and making sure that equality is happening in the way that it should. And female empowerment in the 50s, 70 years later, we've still got the brand going strong out of Finland. And Finland's kind of got a big place in my heart. I've never been there, but my full-time job, my daily job, my not YouTube job is in education, and Finland has a very big, very well-respected education system around the world. So when I saw something that was tying up with Finland and sneakers, I thought, well, you know what, that's a shoe that I definitely need to be talking about with you guys out there. So we're going to take a look at that today and get into some of the details on this guy, and hopefully you'll get an idea of whether or not this is an Adidas you want to get into. And that for me is a very big deal at the channel, because those Star Wars Adidas aside, sometimes when I do Adidas videos, people out there in the States, North America, not Europe, reach out to me and tell me, yay, thank you very much for doing that video, because we didn't get this information in the US, and I'm the place that they get that information. I kind of appreciate those kind of comments, and letting people let me know the impact of my tiny little channel that has out there in the world. And this may just be one of those shoes, and maybe one of those Adidas that isn't getting that worldwide sort of exposure, and maybe this is the one place where you can see the details on the shoes. So with any luck, I'll be able to go through it bit by bit and tell you all the important details. So let's get into it and have a look now. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to start with the Marimekko branding that comes in just two places, and they're both very high up on the shoe. So the first thing we want to do is go over to the tongue. So we see that basically it's a white tongue with a really interesting piece of branding on the top there where it says Marimekko. I don't know if I'll be able to show it in full, especially because that strap on there gets in the way, and more about the strap in a minute once we finish talking about the branding. But the thing I like about the Marimekko branding on the tongue is its simplicity. Yes, red writing on a white background, but actually it's the vertical side of things as opposed to horizontal side of things. It's unusual to see branding stacked this way. Usually it would be the other way, or horizontally across the tongue. So that was kind of one of the first draws that took me into the shoe. And then if we move back from that and look into the inside of the shoe, you can see that there's white Marimekko branding on a black branding panel on a pink insole. I nearly said tongue. Insole. And again, it's that branding on this side, but very simple, and very sort of discreet and kind of sleek in a way. So that's the two really main points of Marimekko branding on the shoe. There's a couple of Adidas branding points later that we'll get to, but basically when it comes to that Marimekko, it's up there on the tongues that you want to be looking, and down there on the insoles. And like I said, the strap up there is something to look at, and also the lining is something to look at. So I think I'm going to start off with the strap and look at the way that wraps around the front. Apparently, according to what I read, this is an 80s OG retro strap. who knew? And it's kind of distinctive in that it's got the Adidas branding in red on there on the white strap. But what really interested me about it was the stitching, and there's kind of an interesting sort of wave effect on the stitching, where the stitching seems to go like halfway across the strap, 3/4 of the way across the strap, and then all the way across the strap, and there's a sort of loop of stitching that sort of runs in there at 3 or 4 different places across there, and it's kind of a neat little detail that just adds a bit of definition up there on that strap. And like I say, the Adidas branding up there in red on white. So that strap's a big deal. And then also, if we go back to that lining that I was talking about already, we're going to go into the heel in a second and look at the way the reds and purples and pinks all play off each other in there. But it's important to look down on the insole and look at the lining on these guys and see what's going on there, because I think I'm right in saying, I hope I don't get this wrong, but I think it's a pink lining with sort of an orange hit on it. And it's very hard to see what that detailing is, whether it's company branding or whether it's just a geometric design or something like that. But then when we do look at the heel, you get a better idea of what the branding looks like on the outside of these guys, and it's more of a sort of red and purple feel that you've got going on the heel. So hopefully what I've been able to do is zoom in on the old green screen here, and you can see that branding and patterning across the heel on the shoe, which looks kind of simple, but then as you zoom in on it, you see there's sort of a loop effect going on, like bunting, if you know what bunting is, loop effect going on through there. And I think it's just a geometric design. I do not think that what we're looking at is the branding from the company. I don't think it's some kind of logo or anything like that. I think it's just a geometric sort of loop design that runs through there. But the additional sort of point on here is what looks like one heel section is actually two. So if you look closely on the old green screen, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Is there's a second layer on that heel in red, and it's just solid red. It's easiest to see on the medial side, and you'll be able to see up here that it's just a solid red color with no patterning on it. And then if we go back to the lateral side, you see where that red panel actually comes and joins together with the patterned panel, and they're actually two different things on the back end of the shoe. And right in the middle of that lateral side, you've got the Adidas trefoil branding. Like I said, I was talking about the 2 points of branding, one up on the tongue and one down here on that sort of heel wraparound. I don't want to say heel counter, don't want to say heel cup. I think we're going to say a real heel wraparound. And like I say, the design and the patterning in there is kind of a major feature on the shoe. And then if we drop down from that and go to the midsole, you can see the embossed. I always have to think about it. I think it's embossed is when something pushes off and is sort of pointing out the way. Debossed would be something that's sort of sunk into the shoe. So you can see that embossed Adidas branding, white on the midsole of these guys. And then when we flip them upside down and have a look at the outsole, it's an all red, cherry red outsole with sort of a round design dominating most of it. And then a kind of section in the middle on the midfoot area there. So a solid red front to back outsole, and lots of circles sort of defining the front half, and kind of the latter little hint on the back of these shoes. So and I think that's just about everything about these guys. The Marimoto, check on there, that sounds like a Japanese thing. Marimoto, the Marimekko. I'm just reading my notes down below the camera. The Marimekko Adidas Forum Low, coming to us on June the 18th. So with any luck, you guys, that was an informative video. You found out more about the shoe than you already knew, some of the details on there, or it's a shoe that you didn't know at all and you're just like, whoa, didn't know that was coming down the line. I'm a massive Adidas head, and this video right here is going to take me and get me into this shoe and get me looking for these guys. So so June the 18th, the Marimekko. There, it's not that, it's the Marimekko out of Finland, tying it up with the Adidas brand, and so a very European feel to this shoe. Okay, with that being said, it's time to wrap this one up for another day. Churning out the videos, the daily content, keeping it going for you guys out there. Trying to get to 1,000 consecutive days on YouTube, and we're at something like 915 consecutive days. So it's actually a race right now, and I think I'll probably do something with this race. We're at like 1,942 subscribers and 915 days, so it's a race between subscribers and days to see if we can get to 2,000 subscribers before we get to 1,000 days. So I think I'll play around with that in the graphics at some point, but for now this video is just time to wrap this one up. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and I'll remind you what I do at the end of every single video, which is that I do this every single day, and that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.